Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video I am going to be showing you how to make these hearts in 3 different sizes using the exact same pattern. So this larger lighter heart I did in a number 6 Bernat blanket yarn using a 5.5 hook, and then I did this heart in a number 4 Bernat yarn using a 4.25 hook, and then all I did was I went down a hook size using this same yarn in a different color with a 3.75 hook. So I'm going to show you this heart, and then I will show you an option for putting the face on and for giving him little arms. And then after we do this one, I'm going to show you how to do this one, start to finish. And then this smaller one, you will have to go back and watch this one with a different hook size. I also made this guy. He is 1 more increase row and 2 more repeat rows, and then a decrease and a repeat row all the way down. He is not in this video, but I will give you some instructions as how to make him a little bigger if you want to make a bigger heart than these little tiny pink hearts. This is a crochet along, so I do every single stitch with you. But if you get lost or I do something that you don't understand or miss, there will be a drop-down menu at the beginning of every row with the pattern instructions that you can refer back to. And I think that's everything, so grab your yarn and let's get started. For the larger heart, I am using a number 6 Bernat blanket yarn and a 5.5 crochet hook. We're going to begin with a magic ring on this one. So what I do is I put the yarn between my ring finger and my thumb, just a little pinch. And I'm going to wrap it around 3 fingers and make an X. And then I grab that yarn in the back with my pinky finger to keep that nice and tight. Then you flip your yarn over, you go under your front yarn and you grab the back yarn and you'll just pull it under and make 1 chain. And then just kind of twist that around so you're holding it with the loop, like if you'd done a chain 2 or however else you might start your crochet. And I'm going to put a little marker in there so I know where my first stitch started. And then for round 1, we're going to put 6 single crochets into this loop going over our piece of tail as well. So go through the loop and then just make your single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then grab that tail. And be very careful because this yarn really tends to break easily, and just give that a pull, bringing that nice and tight as best you can without putting too much tension on there. For row 2, we're going to do 6 increases, so that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around, for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2. Whoops. Increase 3 and 4. Increase 5 and 6. Increase 7, and 8. Increase 9 and 10, and another increase 11 and 12. And if you can, give that a little pull if you need to kind of flatten that bump out. It shouldn't matter too much on a heart because there's a bump there already. For round 3, you're just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around for a total of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And if this is your first one, you are going to slip stitch in the next stitch, and you're going to tie that off, leaving yourself a little bit of a tail, because when you sew the other half together, you're going to have a little bit of a hole right here, and you're just going to wrap that around this tail end in there. So if you're just on your first one, I am going to put a timestamp in the next frame, so you can go back if you need to and redo your second one. And if you're on your second one, finish your 12 single crochet like this, and don't cut this this strand, because you're going to use that to attach to the other half. Okay, now to attach both sides, you're going to find the side where you got the knot, and I like to start behind my knot, just so that you don't see this and there isn't a space there. So my knot and my slip stitch are right here. So this right here was my last stitch of the last row, and this right here is the first stitch. So I want to go in here to start, and then I want to go around this stitch and my slip stitch, and then go into this stitch. So make sure they're both facing with the open ends up. So go behind your last stitch of that round and do 1 single crochet. Then go around so you're behind the next stitch, kind of under where you slip stitched, and do your second single crochet. and you're going to do 12 single crochets around one side and 12 around the other side. So that's 2. We need 10 more. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that should be one side, and we'll move to the other side. And we got to find where our last stitch was, which is right here. And we're going to be going into this next stitch. And if you're having a hard time doing this with the plush yarn, watching it with the plush yarn because you can't see the stitches that I'm going in, I am going to be putting this pattern after this, so it might be helpful to watch me do it in this yarn while you're using this yarn, and then you can see where I'm putting my hook. Okay, so I'm going to count 12 again around this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that is a total of 24 stitches. And if you happen to go in the wrong stitch, our next row, we'll use that to even our stitches out, unless you want to go back and redo this row so you have 24. So make sure you're going in the next stitch, which will be way down here, a nice tiny little stitch. And we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Oops, there we go. Oh, I went in the same stitch there. I thought it looked wrong. 12. $13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24, and that should bring you right to your stitch marker in the next stitch. And if you have the wrong amount, you can always do a decrease right here or an increase. You want to have 24 in this round because there's not a lot of rounds left to make any corrections. Before we go any further, let's just get rid of whoops, I got rid of the wrong stitch marker. Let's sew this little hole up here. So I'm just tuck my starting ends out of my way. And thread that tail you left on your first bump of the heart. Find where your hole is in the center, and you're just going to go around a couple of times on either side of that hole in the stitches. So I'm on the top side right now. Go around and then just go on the bottom side. And then just do that a couple of times, making sure you're in the same stitches so you're not closing the little V in the heart at the top there. That's probably enough. You can flip it over and stick your finger up and kind of give it some pressure. And if the hole doesn't peek through, then you probably have it good enough. Twisted that around. Okay, so and then just grab a stitch and tie that into a knot. Once or twice. Careful again not to break your yarn when you're doing this. And then you can cut that or just shove it in out of your way. Get your hook back in. And I'm going to re-grab a stitch marker. And for row 6, you're going to do 2 single crochets and a decrease for a total of 18. Oops. All right, so 1, 2, and decrease for 3. 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, 8, decrease for 9, 10. Hold on, is that the right stitch? Guess so. 10, 11, and decrease for 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18. Row 7, you're just going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. For row 8, you're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, and repeat that around for a total of 12. Oh, I keep grabbing that stitch marker. So 1 decrease for 2, 3, decrease for 4, whoops, 5, decrease for 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, and decrease for 10, 11, and decrease for 12. For row 9, you're going to do 12 single crochets all the way around for a total of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you should have something that looks kind of like this right now. You're just making the plain heart. You're going to do 6 decreases all the way around, close it up, tie it off. If you want to make him a little face, we'll put the eyes on now, and then I will show you where the cheeks and the little mouth is going to go. So I'm using 12mm eyes. I think the bigger you go, the cuter he might be. So I'm just going to kind of find kind of the center of my bumps, and I'm going to go between rows 5 and 6. So find your first loop of 6 single crochets, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just go a little below that. And then do the same thing on the other side. I'm kind of just coming down from the top of the heart. And of course, put them wherever you want. They could look cute together or further apart. I did struggle a bit with the face, so this might not be everybody's liking. And then you'll put your backs on. Listen for those clicks. Make sure you get at least one. If this is going to be sold for a child or something, I would maybe put a little warning about the safety eyes, because they will come through these bigger stitches with this plush yarn if they're poked at and played with. For the mouth, you're just going to find the center of where you put your eyes in. So my line goes up and around. So this is the center of that row. And then you're going to go down 2 rows. So 1 and 2. And just, if you have a pin, put that just right in the center. And you're going to put your mouth on either side of that hole that that pin is in. So I'm going to come inside and come up and out, leaving a little bit of a tail to tie. Then I'm going to go over to the other side and go down and in. Now if you want to leave it like that, just tie it off. If you want to make him a little V for a mouth, come up in the center of the next row down. Then you're going to go under his mouth. And then pull that down and come back in that same stitch you just came up through. And just pull it to where you want it. And then you'll tie that off. Whoops. I just popped a chicken off of the table. And don't pull this too tight because you don't want to make your yarn disappear here. Tie it in a couple of knots. And then we'll do the cheeks. And you'll just go somewhere in the center, or you can come up and through if you want. And I'm just going to go even with where my mouth row is started, and then I'm going to go up just kind of in the middle of the eye. So it's probably the next stitch over. Leave some yarn for tying. And you're just going to go around this stitch a couple of times, depending on the thickness of your yarn. I think I'm going to go 3 times. So that's twice. And 1 more time. Whoops. Shouldn't have brought that out. But then you're going to go over to the other matching stitch. So I'm 1 over from where my mouth is. And do the same amount. So I did 3. So I'll do 3 on this side. So that's 1. That's 2. And coming up is my 3rd one. And then I'll go in and come back where I started so I can tie that. You might have to just play with the yarn a little bit to get them how you want so they're even. When you're happy, give it a tie. And then you'll just thread that down and through the inside somewhere. Okay. Now you'll add your stuffing. And what I like to do is stuff one side of the heart and then the other, so I make sure I get up into those bumps nice and firm. Then do the other side. then just pop a little bit in the bottom. And then now you'll just close it up. So we'll do our 6 decreases. So one, whoops, I only went through the front loop there. So 1 decrease. 2 decrease. 3 decrease. 4 decrease. 5 decrease. And 6 decreases. Yeah. And then you are just going to do a slip stitch and tie that off, leaving a little bit of a tail to sew closed. And if you want to make a little hanger, leave a little bit more and you can just stuff it up the bottom and bring it up through the top. And then we'll just close him up. So you're just going to weave in and out through those 6 decreases. And what I like to do also is I'll go through 3 with this plush yarn. Then I'll pull that tight. And then I'll go through the next 3. And it kind of helps a little bit if your yarn snaps easy. Then you'll just grab a little stitch in the center and tie that. And if you're finished, you'll just weave that up inside. And if you want a little hanger, you'll come through and try and get, my goal is to get right about there. But my stuffing always seems so hard to get through. Probably should invest in a metal needle. And don't pull that too tight because you don't want to lose the point of your heart either. So you just want to kind of hold that, pull your knot through, and then just kind of adjust it so it's still pointy. Maybe move some of your stuffing down a bit. And then you'll just tie that in a knot as close to here as you can get it. And I guess you're done. Well, let's just do that. Might as well. You could also put a keychain on here if you want. And then I just pull my end back down through. Just anywhere. And there you go. You have your first little heart made. If you are wanting to make legs, I'm going to pop those in next. I'm going to do one leg and then show you where I put them. If you're doing the next heart, just keep on watching and we will go through this one in the regular number 4 yarn. Okay, so if you want to make legs for this little guy, you're going to leave a little bit of a tail, and then you're going to make your knot with the loop at the end because we're going to be chaining. And you're going to chain 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now you're going to go into the 3rd loop from your hook. So this one on your hook does not count. This is your first one, your second one, and your 3rd one. And you're just going to slip stitch into that stitch. And maybe keep a hold of that because we're going to go in it a couple more times. So slip stitch, then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, go back into that 3rd stitch and slip stitch. Then you're going to chain 2 again, 1, 2, and then slip stitch again back in that 3rd stitch. And now you're just going to slip stitch all the way down back to the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And you can make these as long as you want. Just increase your chain amount and then do your slip stitches into the 3rd stitch from the end. And then you're just going to pull that off. Tie it. And for leg placement, I just went even with the row the eyes are in and pinned them on that row on the side for the arms. And then for the legs, I went kind of where the bottom of my mouth is. I'm about 2 rows up from the bottom. And then I just went on the top side of the row where my pin was with one side. Then take the other side and so if I went right up here, I'm going to come through the other side of the row on the bottom side and then come up through where I pulled the top one through, so they're both coming out the same hole, but there is one stitch between them. And then you're just going to tie that a couple of times and then thread it out through the back of the body. Whoops. Making sure you come down where you came out, and then just out through the middle somewhere, so you can cut that off. And there you go. So thanks for watching me do the heart in the plush yarn. Don't forget, if you enjoy my videos, to hit the subscribe button, and you'll be notified every time I make a new video. And if you're doing more hearts, just keep on watching. Okay, so this part of the video is going to be for these two hearts. The lighter pink heart is done with a number 4 yarn and a 4.25 hook. And then the other heart in the darker yarn is just a little bit smaller, and it's the exact same pattern, but I'm using a 3.75. So I'm only going to be doing this heart. So you pick which hook size you want to use for that. And we can get started. Okay, we're going to begin with our knot with the loop on the end. So you're just going to fold your yarn over, wrap it around your finger, pull it around and through to make a knot, but you're going to leave this little loop on the end. You can start any way you want. If you want to do the magic circle or where you do a chain. You're going to grab your yarn, pull up and through the loop, and then chain 1, and that is just to attach the yarn. Does not count as a stitch. Now for row 1, you're going to do 6 single crochets into your loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoops. Do that again. 5 and 6. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for round 2, you're going to do 6 increases, which is 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, increase 11 and 12. Row 3, you're just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, oops, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now this is where I'm going to stop for this size of a heart. You can keep going if you want it bigger, but keep in mind it does not take much to make it different. So this heart I went to 12 on each side, and whatever my joining row will be double that, so it's 24. And this one I went to 18, so that's only one more increase row, and then one row for every time you increase. So I did 2 increases, so I went 2 rows of 18, which made my joining row 36, I believe. So look at the difference in just one more row of increasing. And then when you go down, you just do a decrease row, a repeat row, decrease row, repeat row. Okay, so let's tie this off then. And if you're doing your first one, you're going to leave a little bit of a tail. So you can sew up that hole in the middle. And if you're on your second one, don't cut your yarn because you're going to keep on going around and around. So I will put a little screenshot if you need to go back to the timestamp to restart this for your second one. If you're done your second one, it should look like this. And you're ready to start joining the two together. Okay, to join them together, you're going to want both of the openings facing up. And you're going to go. This is where your slip stitch is. This was your last stitch of your round. So you're going to start in this stitch, and then you're going to come all the way over around that stitch, around your slip stitch, and just kind of under the knot behind what would have been your first stitch of the last row. So go behind that 12th stitch and do 1 single crochet. And then you're going to go in front of the stitch and the slip stitch, but behind what would have been your first stitch of the last row. And kind of get that knot on the inside of your work and do your second single crochet. And we need to do 12 all the way around. So we have 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And it looks like there's a stitch left, but that is actually where your first stitch went. You can see it sideways there. And that was your last stitch on the other side. So you want to come over right to here. And you're going to do 12 more on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you should have a total of 24 stitches all the way around. Now you're just going to do a repeat row of 24. So if you made these bigger, your bumps bigger and increased, your row you just did and your next row will be twice as much. So if this was 18, it's 36. If it was 24, your next round will be, this round and the next round will be 48. All right, so I need my stitch marker. And now we should have, this will be row 5 and it'll be 24 single crochets all the way around. And if you don't have 24, just adjust once you get to the end with an increase or a decrease. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. And now let's sew up that little hole that we have. So it should look about like that. Grab that tail that you left. And you're just going to go in and out of the 2 stitches on this side and the 2 stitches on this side. I'm going around. You can go back and forth however you want to do it. Going around, you can kind of lose where your needle's supposed to go in to catch the holes, and then like the other one, come in here, push your finger in, make sure that hole's not going to split open, and then just give it a tie by grabbing onto a stitch. I think I'm only doing this one once, and I'm going to cut that so it's not in my way too much. Get your hook back in there, and we're ready to start row 6, which is 2 single crochets, 1 decrease for a total of 18. So 1, 2, and a decrease for 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, whoopsie, 8, decrease for 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, decrease for 15, 16, 17, decrease for 18. Row 7 is just 18 single crochets all the way around for a total of 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Row 8 is 1 single crochet and 1 decrease, and repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1, decrease for 2, 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, decrease for 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. Row 9 is just 12 single crochets all the way around for a total of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops, I got a little piece there. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so let's put some stuffing in there now. And again, I like to do one side first. I might have a little bit too much, but let's see. And then do the other side. Trying to keep them a bit on the even side. And then I'm going to add the last bit of my stuffing at the end because I'm not very good at keeping my decreases looking nice and tight. And the more stuffing you have in there, the harder it is to get them looking nice. All right, so for row 10, we're just going to do, whoop, that happened, 6 decreases. So 1 decrease, 2 decrease, 3 decreases. 4 decreases. 5 decreases. And 6 decreases. And then slip stitch in the next stitch and tie off. So again, leaving a bit of a tail if you're just making the heart, and leaving a little bit more if you're going to tie it to hang or to have a little, just a little loop up top. Okay. So you're just gonna, oh yeah, add a tiny little bit more stuffing in there. There, that's good enough for my liking. And then you're just gonna weave back and forth in the loops of your last row. And then pull that nice and tight. And give it a little bit of a tie. Put your knot in there. And then again, if you're leaving it like just this, just go up and come out somewhere. If you're tying it onto another heart or making a little kind of keychain loop, you're going to pull it up through the center. Kind of check that it hangs where you want it. You might have to move that. I'm going to move mine over one little bit. All right, that's okay. And then when I attached them, I just came down and I try to get a center stitch. And then I just made a knot here. I went quick because I was just playing around. Like my knot is not hidden. So you'll want to do a little better job than I did. So it'll look like this. So if you're doing the third heart, don't forget, go down your hook size. I went 3.75. You could go way smaller, but I struggle with this size, so I didn't go any smaller than that. Okay. For the tassel on the small heart, all I did was I went through a stitch on the bottom, grabbed a couple strands of yarn at once. I pulled it through, and then I grabbed it and I pulled it through again, and then just pulled that tight. So just like that, but on the bottom with about 3 strands. So I think we're done. If I forgot anything, I will add it in editing at the end or wherever it needs to be. I thank you for watching, supporting my channel. Without you guys, it would not be anything. Don't forget, if you ever see anything in the background of any of my videos, I have a tutorial for everything except for at this very moment, not this guy, because he's basically the same thing but one more row, which I might put in the I might put a pattern for him at the end just because it's close to Valentine's Day and I have not a lot of time to get him up. So thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you like my videos, hit the subscribe button. And that way you'll be notified every time I make a new video. Let's see. You can always leave me a like and a comment. I think that's it. So hope you guys have a great day. And thank you so very much for watching. Bye-bye.